Alright, let's get this started. So, what's up everybody? It's Vision. Starting my first streamed franchise mode. I don't think I've ever done this, so it's pretty exciting to me. Always kind of streamed World of Chell, EASHL. I've done Overwatch and Call of Duty in the past, but I've never really done anything that I'm like seriously interested in until now. So it's pretty exciting. I'm really stoked about it. In the future, I'd like to have a couple guests on just so it's not me talking all the time. You're gonna get bored of my voice probably half an hour and 45 minutes in. Uh, my streams should be saved to YouTube, so if you do want to watch any of this over again, if you do want to kind of see what happens if you miss a stream, just to catch up on what happened in the last episode, just skim through it. I'll see about saving these to YouTube. Hopefully it'll work. So let's delve into kind of what I'm doing here. My team is going to be called the Memphis Raptors. I'm doing a 33rd team expansion draft. So what that means is I'm going to create an extra team on top of the original 32 that are in the NHL. So as you can see right here, the thing that I noticed was it threw me in the Pacific Division even though I'm Memphis. I don't know if there's a way for me to change that once I start the franchise, or if that's just something I have to live with. Obviously, Memphis is not Pacific. It's very central. I'd like to play the Predators, if possible, more times, because there are in-state rivals. Tennessee to Tennessee. And the reason I chose Memphis, recently I've kind of been obsessed with writing about Tennessee as a whole in my music. Some of you don't know, my two passions are sports and music. Obviously sports, you can see me doing a lot with NHL community, playing hockey in real life. Music has kind of always been my other outlet, and Tennessee being the state of music, a lot of lyrics kind of throw back to different facets of that. Obviously, big country music state. Memphis is a big music city, big hub for that. So Raptors come from esports team that I work with. Hopefully we can start working a little bit more on expanding that. That's a team formerly known as the Van City Grizzlies, or will be formerly known as the Van City Grizzlies. Sorry for any spoiler alerts to my boy X-Virtue. But kind of take a look at what this franchise mode is going to entail so you can see what settings I'm playing on. Kind of the notable things, I switched the period length to 5 minutes and the difficulty to Superstar, so if I do play a game, it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge than something like All-Star or Pro. It's going to be rather difficult for me to score. I don't know if I'm going to be playing any games. If you do want to see me play games, please put that in the comments. If you want to see me sim more games, then just kind of throw through it. Watching the action tracker, let me know. I don't know what exactly you guys want me to do in terms of playing games, in terms of simming games. Like if you want to see more action, I guess, then please put that in the comments so I know to do that. I don't have any auto edit lines. I don't have any auto edit anything. Except for, I believe I put on, where is it? I put minimal editing on the minor league. So the Aces, Burnaby Aces, I think is the default name for the AHL team. I don't ever edit AHL. This stuff, I don't have owner mode on. I turn Fog of War off so I can limit my pro scouting. Shorthanded, penalty time, I usually keep pretty similar. CPU to CPU trades are on. For the sliders, I have broken sticks way down. to 20, and I also put the injuries down to 20. Whenever I'm playing franchise modes by myself, I think that I usually keep it on 25, and even still the injuries are pretty crazy. I don't want my players out for the entire season. Conversely, other teams' players being out for the entire season is a big hamper on the franchise mode. Obviously, my background managing in leagues and online leagues, it's something that you rarely ever see. So I don't know, having injuries down kind of keeps the pace of the franchise up a lot. So I just don't like seeing that as much. A little less fun. So that being said, let's get into this expansion draft here. So kind of for the basis of this team, let's see where am I in this lottery at all? I don't think so. No, but for the basis of this team, I kind of want to win now, I think. Obviously, in a lot of other leagues that I do in GM mode, I try to build for the future, like how I would do it in real life. And I feel like that's a pretty fun strategy to kind of watch because I don't feel like a lot of people do that in franchise mode, but at the same rate, winning is always a good thing. At least for this franchise mode, I kind of want to have a shot at winning the cup right away. Bring something to Memphis. I don't know. We'll kind of see what's available in the expansion draft, and we can kind of base that around what we do here. I did turn on picking from Seattle in the settings. I don't think it showed that in the settings, but most of the time whenever you do a 33rd team, Seattle cannot be picked from. Likewise, if you do a 32 team expansion draft, Vegas cannot be picked from because they're the two newest teams in the NHL. I have an active GM mode that I'm playing on my own, whereas Seattle, and we didn't pick anybody from Vegas to start with. So obviously, I think I'm going to take a look and see what the best contract is to start with and kind of go from there. If there's anything, I see Manson's an 84 by an 84 4 mil player. Don't really see anything excellent here. Richie is one that I kind of always go back to selecting. Richie's caused a lot of problems in some of my franchises with morale. I don't know if that's the route I'm going to go this time, but having an 82 at a 1.5 is always really good. 25, he's pretty young. Another notable thing that I did turn on in this franchise was that everybody added a year to their contract. That way it kind of protects me from selecting somebody who's not going to play for me in the expansion draft. I know it's kind of a little bit cheap, but I mean, I feel that like if you're doing an expansion draft, then all your players should be coming back, ideally. Mangiapane, it's a pretty good contract here. 83, 2.5 in 3 years. Let's kind of scan through and see what else I find. Oh, there's an 80 overall at 950. Gaudette. I always pick him. My other leagues, maybe I do something different. But I don't know. Really, right now, I'm not seeing anything spectacular. I haven't gotten down to any of these better teams, I guess, in my opinion, to select from in the draft, so could maybe see me holding out on picking anybody spectacular. He's a decent contract, but he's old. Bobby Ryan. Ethan Bear's one I like to pick too. A lot of these guys you kind of see competing in my franchise modes. Yeah, I don't... Tatar's a fun one to play with. He usually fits pretty well in most schemes. Ekholm's an 86. Subban's only an 83 in this game. Kind of. Yeah, right now I'm not really seeing very much. Like in the terms of top end players. That's really strange. Usually you'll see a couple of 86s, 87s floating around. Let's see what goalies there are. Maybe there's a goalie that I pick first. Expansion. I did see down here Ottinger. 82, 22. He's got a little lower potential, but this contract, 3 years at 925. Looks like he's still on his ELC. Having that would be pretty good, depending on what else I'm missing out on from that team. I can't remember where he was. Stars? Still? Yeah, I think he starts out on the Stars. Man. Here's Jari. Jari could be a good goalie. He's 26. Vanacek's always really, really good in this game. He develops pretty well. I think he turned out to be like an 80, an 87 or an 88. Other franchise. These two goalies are particularly bad. Here's Fleury. So I wonder kind of what kind of scheme I had. Maybe I should have seen that before I took a look. I don't exactly know what I'm getting myself into yet. Okay, so the obvious choice for goalie would be Fleury if I were to win now. But then I also miss out on somebody like Nolan Patrick. He's 22 years old. He has a low elite potential. He's, I think on the last year of his ELC, it looks like he's a 79. I don't think I would take anybody like Stevenson. Could be good. Top 6 potential with 2x5. Or 2x4, I'm sorry, because that last year's going to expire as soon as I pick him. I could go for Patrick. Let's see. Alright, so I figure that picking a goalie first might be the venue I go to. Because having a good goalie could mean the difference between having a successful team and one that kind of bums out in playoffs. So, I mean, the only guy I might be missing out on here is actually Klingberg. He's 28. He has 3 years on his contract. 2 once you consider that going down. Ottinger, obviously, having 82. Unless I hire a goalie coach, I might not be going up that much more, considering he's only a fringe starter. Klingberg has 4 abilities. How does he fit in the... He actually doesn't fit at all in the scheme. Keep forgetting you can check your scheme before you go into the expansion draft. Maybe that's something I can do in my next series if I don't forget. Picking Ronta might be a good selection there. I mean, there's absolutely just nothing on that Yotes team. everybody is old and overpaid, or old or overpaid. Man, everybody that I want is pretty weak scheme fit. Man, I'm really not trying much here. Now, I do remember in one of my franchise modes, Lukanen, I hope I pronounced that right. I've got no clue how that's pronounced. He turns out to be very good. In a certain franchise that I'm doing now, he turns out to be an 88 within 3 seasons. Obviously, that elite potential contributes a little bit to that. He's 76 and 22, but am I willing to maybe take that? I mean, there's not very much else besides Lukanen here. I could take him as my third goalie. That could really be a good pick. Let's do that. That'll be my first selection on the Memphis Raptors. Ukko-Pekka Lukanen. I probably absolutely butchered that. I'm sorry if I did. Let me know in the comments if I got that right or not. Probably did not. Kind of feeling this Milangipani pick could be solid. Pitlick's a little on the older side. He's a 79. I don't know if he's going to develop any. Obviously, you saw Mangiapane does not fit in the scheme whatsoever. But again, having him around maybe is like a bottom 6 forward. I mean, to start with, that might not be good. But having him in the future as a bottom 6, I think he has 2 seasons left on that contract. I think the obvious choice, I think, here would be Claudette. They have Subban, too. That's 24, Subban's 27. That's cheap. Good save cap for somewhere else. Devon Taves. Right now, I want to snag anybody who's at the top of the line here. I think Klingberg, even though he's not the absolute best fit for this scheme, he only fits really well in the power play. Como as an extension, but he's 35, so no, I'm not going to pick that. But an 86, 28, and 4.2 by 3 is probably the best thing I can possibly select for the top end at any position. Take a look and see what else there is. Clefbaum, Bear, and Kulikov. All 3 of them are pretty cheap. I mean, 4.1 isn't the best, but that's not absolutely devastating either. Naya Follow isn't bad. He's only a penalty killing scheme fit. Okay, Foligno. Could pick Foligno here. He's 29. He has an extension. So this contract's going to last 4 more years. He's a top 6 potential. He's 29 years old. If he does really well this season, he's not going to be crazy expensive. Did I select a left wing? No, I didn't. I didn't pick any left wings yet. Not gonna sell out on that just yet. Ekholm is a scheme fit. Is there anybody who's a little bit better contract-wise, age-wise? Could be looking at here. Allard. Top 6 potential. He's 23 and he's 74. Nick Cousins. Gonna be around for 2 more years. Johansson's too expensive. I mean, Ekholm is 31. He does have 3 superstar abilities. I don't know. I mean, taking somebody who's a little bit younger for a slight decrease in skill could be useful. Do I want to take Cousins? 1.5. I mean, he's only 2. Yeah, that's a little bit better contract to skill ratio. But Ekholm, he's old, man. He's old. Alright, so I did say that I was going to sell out and try to win. So let's go with Ekholm and just hope he doesn't absolutely poop the bed to start with. Palmieri is 30. He's an 83. Pretty cheap. I mean, we're early enough in this mode that it's not going to be. Sammy Blaze all reliable for me too. It could be a good pick. Nick Paul. Now JVR is expensive. He's really expensive, and a 32-year-old, having him at 7 mil, I can really see him decreasing in overall. He's slightly bigger winger. Does he fit in the scheme at all? He's a bottom 6 player. I mean, if he does decrease, I could throw him further down in my lines. Sanheim fits in the first line. That could possibly be Ekholm's D pair. Here's Lindblom. That could be a very, very good pick. Both of these guys are... I'll leave this up to the decision of what do I need more at the time that I select from there. Zucker... he's on the expensive side. So I don't know about that. I picked Donato a lot in franchise. I'm definitely not picking Jones. He's got that top 6 potential. I don't really see any like 80 pluses that are any better particularly. Donato does not have an extension. Gambrel does. Balsers or Balsers, however you pronounce that, does. And he has, okay, his extension's only 1 way, but he's a 2-way player. He's only a top 9 potential, so could he actually do something? Like more than Donato would? He's definitely cheaper. It's a longer extension. Now, this is a way cheaper extension here. He's also well older. He's a little 4 years older. This contract's definitely better. He can play left wing, and this guy can play center, so I guess I can leave that up to chance and what I take. Taking a look at these contracts here, I see a couple extensions. Jamie Alexiak, this one's kind of sticks out to me. He does have an extra year on that contract, so his extension is not going to come until next year. So if the worst turns to worst, and he becomes useless, I could trade him at the deadline. Or if he does really well for me, I could opt to take that extension or trade him to a team at the draft who would take that extension, depending on how well he does. That could be a possibility. Chalowski, he's 23. Cale Fleury. Cale Fleury is very young. Lexiak is 6 years older. Obviously has that ability to be good, but his window for being an elite defenseman is kind of dwindling. Oh, here we go. Robert Thomas has an extra year. He's an 82. Does he scheme fit? Well, he does. Is there anybody younger than Thomas that could possibly be more useful? He's the youngest player on the team, so I think that would be throw not to take him. They don't even have any good goalies, so I'll take Thomas here. Blues. Chernak seems really good. He's only 24. Top 4 potential. Okay. I've taken Cal Foot in quite a few franchises, but I don't think I want to go that direction this time. There's a lot of good D in this expansion draft. I think I'd probably take Chernak. He's young, he's on a good contract for a long time. I don't really have many top of the line forwards, but I do have 3 solid or very good defensemen. I'm not going to glean a forward from here. Probably a defenseman. Oh, look at this, Dermott. Dermott's always really, really nice. And he fits very well in the scheme. I don't see myself taking anybody else realistically, unless there's maybe an elite potential player here. Nah, there's not. Just probably take Dermott. There's not really any good forwards here either. Seems like draft is pretty thin forwards wise, so I definitely know what I'm going to be drafting. Stevenson, it's a good contract. Haig, 2-way for 3 years. That's really good. I mean, obviously Nolan Patrick, being on this contract with as young as he is probably the most tempting pick here. Hager Patrick. I mean, I'm pretty solid on defense, don't you think? The only thing here that we'd be missing out on is Marc-Andre Fleury, so I don't think I'm going to be selecting right now on this one. Orlov or Schultz. Having pretty high overalls. Here's Kopp. He's 26. Fits in the second line. Is there anybody better than Kopp? Possibly? Just pick him. Pray. Yeah. Just leave that as a decision there. I don't know how you pronounce that name. Gouli. Goul. This contract kind of sticks out to me. Jones does a little bit too. But that 3 seasons. That's pretty intriguing. I mean, I just really don't see very many forwards that I can use. Nick Ritchie, maybe. I see Tuukka Rask isn't in this expansion. I didn't figure as much he would be since Seattle's involved. Man, there's really nothing here. This guy is probably the only thing that is around in Buffalo. Oh, I took Lukin and I'm grossly mistaken. Mangiapane, I just don't see how I can really take anything but Mangiapane. Maybe Hannafin for a year younger, but he's also way more expensive and I really do need forwards. I just don't know how I can go without taking at least a medium good forward, even if he doesn't fit in the scheme. Well, I can use him as trade bait. Here leaves an interesting choice. Niederreiter is 83, but he's also worth 5 mil. So do I take that contract? Or do I just kind of leave it? I don't know, I just don't see any players with any sort of potential. And that kind of hurts to think about. Now, Yost or Confer, I'm between these two. Saad is very, very expensive for this, but I could take Devin Taves too. 4x5. He's a decent scheme fit. He's an 84. He's only 27. So comparing apples to apples, forwards to D, Taves is probably the most skilled pick, but I have 4 defensemen already. Nyquist, he's older. Oh, here we go. Roslovic. No idea how to pronounce that again. If I keep getting these names wrong, please, like, let me know in the comments so I don't keep mispronouncing them. Do I think Texier is going to develop more than Roslovic? Call him Jack. More than Jack will. He has an extra year on his contract. It's kind of more of a win now pick, I guess, than having him cook and be ready for about 2 years from now. Now, he does fit in the scheme. XEA doesn't. I'll pick Jack. My boy, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Just leave that as is. Robbie Fabry fits in the top 6. And could be useful on the power play too. He's a top 6 potential. He's 29, a little bit more on the expensive side. I also do have 61 mil in cap to play around with. I want to save as much of that cap as humanly possible for free agency. For the draft, obviously, if I pick somebody really good 3 years after the ELC expires, could use that, but I assume it would be gone by then. I'm not picking remotely close to the top right now, which kind of sucks. It really sucks. So oftentimes, well, always if you play Seattle, you get like the second overall pick, so. So take Fabry and burn a little bit of the cap here. Yeah, I will. I saw Svechnikov there. I think that's a different Svechnikov. Fourth final, yeah. He's probably the most potential-oriented pick. This next pick, I think I might try to get somebody who's going to develop well. So let me sort by potential. See what I can cough up here. I think the only elite in the expansion draft is Hayden Fleury. Oh, Kotkaniemi. Kotkaniemi's an elite. He's 20. Now this... Yeah, it would probably make the most sense to pick Kotkaniemi. Because he's going to develop very, very well. He'll have another contract year before I have to re-sign him. So if I do want to win now, that cap space can be better spent elsewhere, and definitely not on Tatar. Drouin fits in the top, but he's also way, way younger than Kotkaniemi is. Kotkaniemi is going to turn out to probably be a monster. So he's an 82. Fits in the bottom 6. I could actually use him in the bottom 6 until he develops. Kind of build around him. Build around the hope that he does develop. Sharon Govich. Ooh. 23 years old. That misses out on Will Butcher. PK Subban's contract is just absolutely AIDS. Sharon Govich. I would have my bottom 2 centers if I picked him up. I'm definitely not missing out on a goalie. Sharon Govich has that good potential. He's a two-way player. 23 years old. I don't know if there's anybody objectively younger than him that would actually turn out to be any good. Probably just pick him up. I haven't really been paying attention to the nationalities of my players either, which I know was pretty important when going through GM mode. Okay. This is going to be a tough team to pick from. I mean, Sammy Blais looks like it's kind of the obvious choice. Kincaid is probably not that useful. Sort by potential. Hayek. Take Blais. So I understand he could develop to be decent, but Blais has always been useful to me. He doesn't fit well in the scheme, but he's definitely tradable. Looking through, I don't see much here either. Matt Murray's contract's too bad, in my opinion, to justify picking him. White's very expensive. I already have a lot of centers. So I don't know if I'd take Nick Paul. Dzingel. Victor Mete. Mete. And White is mad expensive as well. I don't know what I would pick from Ottawa right now. I do think that JVR might not be the worst pick. He doesn't fit in the scheme. Sanheim and Lindblom. Lindblom might be useful as a left winger. Lindblom might be really useful, and that kind of saves me from taking on that $7 million cap of JVR whenever he's obviously not going to be that good at the end of that contract. Zucker. Another expensive guy. I don't know who I would be taking from probably 85% of these teams. There's nothing that particularly sticks out to me. Between Donskoy and Alexiak. Or Don. Don is well younger than Alexiak is. I didn't really pick that out. Cale Fleury could be incredibly useful. I believe I'm picking a lot of Canadians, so staying in Canada could be nice. Does Alexiak have abilities? He does not. He doesn't have any. So I think I can negotiate Dunn under. Nah, he'd be way more useful than... Alexiak. Cale Fleury's 2 years younger. I could probably re-sign him for about this. About 1.8. But Fleury ain't gonna be ready for a little bit. I'll come back to crackheads. You also see me referring to the Kraken as the crackheads a lot. Don't know if that's within TOS of me to say. It is. Cool. Nolan Patrick does have elite potential, but do I go with Marc-Andre Fleury? Who's a 90. And it's probably going to be 90 for the entire year. Nolan Patrick is absolutely going to be, or to assume that potential, I think. That name's a mouthful. Holy. Orlov's a mil more than Schultz, but you have him for a literal extra year. Could he progress to 84 in that first year? Silverberg is incredibly expensive. Henrique is incredibly expensive. They're both old. If I keep picking these older 83, 84 forwards, I could have an entire team full of them. But I'm not going to really be snagging anything seriously top end. Between Krejci and Ritchie, I wouldn't take Halak. In any universe, I wouldn't take Halak. Let's sort by age here real quick just to see if there's anything maybe more useful than Richie to take. Vakanainen. Pronounce that. It's the top four is 78 and 22. I just don't know if that's going to be more useful than Nick Ritchie. That contract. He's an 82, he's 25 years old. I just don't think that there's going to be anything better than Ritchie on Boston. Now, who do I take from Carolina? Could take Shea. It's in the first pairing. I mean, I'm not going to take anybody cheap that's going to be any good. There's no way. Could take the youngest guy available. Take somebody a little bit more skilled. I'll turn that to the last second decision. This could seriously go anyway too. I have a million centers. I don't particularly need Yost. I think I'd probably take Devin Taves. His age, he's an 84, and he's going to be around forever on that contract. I do have a little bit of cap to spend. I could put a lot of it into that. I'm only going to have the opportunity to pick one more starting D-man. So, between Clefbaum and Bear, I think it's obvious that I'd take Bear. No goalie I'd want, so let's snag up Ethan Bear. Top 4 potential, 23 years old, he's going to stick around for a long time. He'd be somebody I can re-sign. Alright, now I need to focus more on probably taking the best forward available. So I have at least something. Wenberg is always really good. Scan around. See if I can find anything incredible on these teams that I've glossed over. Sharon Govich. Could take Palmieri. I mean, JVR is the only crazy one that's left, but he's 32 years old. So, I mean, obviously, if I do want to win now, I could take him. Let's see how much cap I have left before I make that decision. I'm deciding between him and Lindblom there. If I take Zucker from the Penguins, he fits on the third line, and he would be useful on special teams. He'd be very useful on special teams. But I don't know. At 5 mil, that's a lot of money to spend on somebody who's only 83 overall. It's not the worst, but I'm looking for steals. I mean, Donskoy. I think there's, yeah, it was between like Donskoy and Dunn for this team. I already picked Thomas. That's going to turn out to be a really good pick. Blake Coleman. I already took Chernak. There's really no forwards here. I'd have to take a D-man probably. Let me know in the comments if there's anybody you'd really like to see me pick up. Checking my comments now, I see Virchie saying, get Raymond on Detroit. EJ telling me Ovi's gonna carry. And Gretzky thinks that picking Ekholm is a bad decision. So let's take a look at Raymond. On Detroit. Where is Raymond at? I don't see Raymond here. Maybe here? EJ saying that Donato always butthurt in the locker room. That is true. I've had Donato go off the deep end a couple times. I do have player meetings off, so could be useful. Okay. And he said if you take Ekholm, you're a bot. So is there any other suggestion that I could take from Nashville? I just don't see Raymond. I don't know, maybe he's not in the draft. So he thinks Ekholm's a bad pick. I mean, I understand for the age concern with Ekholm, that might be a bad pick. He's a good scheme fit. I don't know. Probably gonna stick to my guns and just take him, because I mean the next two that are close to his overall are $8 million. Also around the same age as him. Pekarine's way older. The only other thing I can think of maybe taking on Nashville would be somebody way younger than him. I don't really see a good ratio. Harper could be okay if his potential wasn't absolutely horrid. Cousins could be fine, but I also have 17 centers. Yeah, I'm probably just going to stick to taking Ekholm. So yeah, if there's anybody you want to really see me take, let me know. I'm going to be checking my comments a lot more. But I think I probably take a prospect from here, because I don't really see anything that seriously impresses me. There's a million other people that can do what Palmieri, Zajac, and Cizikas can do. Probably sort by potential and just take the best prospect available. Ho-Song might not be the worst option here either. Koivula is 22, he's 76, but he's young, he'll be around for a while. Let's take a look at what I have first, and we'll see how I can possibly improve this. So, my forwards core, Kotkaniemi, and Sharangovich. I feel very good about all three of those picks. They're all relatively young. Kotkaniemi obviously is, in my opinion, the gem, 82 and 20. That's going to be my future in the center position. I probably want to take a top 6 center. Kotkaniemi could be a second liner. Kopp could be a first liner. But personally, to me, center is just too important to just mull over for a position. If I take... what's Kopp's play style here? He's a two-way. Kotkaniemi's a playmaker, and Sharangovich is a two-way. I think probably rolling Sharangovich in the bottom 6 is my best bet. Kotkaniemi is a playmaker. I might bump him to the second line midway through the season. Probably taking a top 6 center. Going to be my next priority. Mangiapane doesn't really scheme fit well. He's Canadian. He's young. Nick Ritchie. He's young. Fits in the bottom 6 pretty well. He's cheap, so I'll throw him down there. Fabry fits in the top 6, so I say probably leaving Fabry for the second line could be a good idea, basing entirely off of scheme fit. Where is he from? He's Canadian. Mangiapane is not a very good fit, so taking a top left winger would be another priority as well. Roslovic fits on the bottom 6, Thomas does. So Thomas would be my bottom 6 player. Let him cook a bit. Blade doesn't fit anywhere, so he's probably going to be a 4th liner. Roslovic. I think I've picked pretty much entirely Canadians and Americans so far. Except on defense, they're kind of all over the place. I mean, this decor, to me, looks pretty good. I have my now and Ekholm in Klingberg, and I have a little bit of my future in Bear, Darmit, Chernak. My decor really doesn't need much touching. It's just the forwards, so let's take a look and see if I can find a singular center to pick. Krejci's just too expensive. Backlund could be interesting. He's 32. Or do I leave that top center spot to sign somebody in free agency and just take a gamble at it? Because I know that there's going to be probably a couple 84s that I can get for relatively affordable once free agency opens. I don't know if I have any of my centers on 2-ways either. Kotkaniemi is. But do I want to... The thing that kind of gets me about this game the most is I don't know entirely how players develop. I haven't played enough franchise mode in 21 to be able to tell you definitively if it's better to let people cook a little bit in the AHL first, or if they get past a certain threshold of skill, will they just not develop? Because, I mean, most of the time I try to at least have some semblance of winning ability right away. I don't ever really carry too many prospects. I mean, Nolan Patrick is the absolute best center I can take here. I don't think that's really a debate. But do I want to take Marc-Andre Fleury? Let me know if you have any ideas. Would you rather see me take a center to develop for the future, or would you rather me take a goalie now and just have a chance to win it all right away? I don't know. It's a pretty tough decision. Obviously, Fleury's not going to be good for much longer. Let's see what other positions need filled. All 3 of you are Canadians. Building a Canadian locker room is going to be beneficial to me in the future. So wherever I pick, I'm probably going to try to stick to Canada as much as I can. So I have my bottom 2 right wings, bottom 6. Need a top 6 right wing. We'll see if I can find one of those now. I also need a starting goalie too, so... Let's see what's in the way of right wings if anything impresses me. Saw in Anaheim there's an 83. Didn't catch who it was. Niederreiter might not be the worst pick either at 5 mil. I have 48 million in cap space. Saving a lot of that's usually my strategy, but I might go a different direction this time. I'm gonna overspend on an 83 or 2. Nathan Bastian, I had him in a league of mine. He did not develop at all. He absolutely did not develop. Vince Dunn is so tempting. Vince Dunn is so tempting, but I do kind of need Donskoy at right wing. There might be somebody who's better than him, though. I might just have to change up my strategy and see if I can snag... I could take Silverberg. Is there anybody with any sort of potential? Top 6 potential is probably the best thing I can find. I already took somebody from Boston. That was Richie. Silverberg's 30 years old. That's pretty crazy. Niederreiter's 28. I think I took somebody from the Canes already, though. Haven't. Bernier is pretty okay. I've gotten decently far with only carrying 83s in net. So being able to live without the flower might be an option, just to be able to pick up somebody like... He's going to carry Patrick. Patrick's going to carry mad trade value. The more I think about it. 22 and 79 in elite potential. I don't know. I can't pass up on that. I think I'm going to try to develop a little bit more for the future than I wanted to. Which, if that's the case, then taking Ekholm may not be the right pick, and sliding to taking a center, one of these centers here. Because realistically, there are a billion defensemen in this fantasy draft, in this expansion, that can do similar to Ekholm. The only thing that sucks about Ekholm not taking him is the fact that he has 3 superstar abilities. And those do a lot more than most people think to win games, so I've found. If I am building for the future, I would probably need players that are younger, a bit more potential. Obviously, my bottom line is so bad. I think I'm going to try to build this to win a cup in like 4 or 5 years. That being said, take Lindblom over JVR just by virtue of age. Top 6 potential. He's 24 years old. He's 82. It's 3 mil, and I'll have him for 3 extra years. So Lindblom would be an amazing pick, in my opinion. JVR doesn't have any abilities. He'll be on the decline soon. So there's my for top left wingers. What is Zucker? Is Zucker a left wing? He is. He can play right wing though. So taking Zucker might not be the worst either. Man, they've got Bonk on the Penguins for prospects too. I don't really see any impressive prospects. I could take Jari, actually. 3.5 mil is... Ugh. What do the Wild have? Do they have Kakinen still in this draft? They do not. Kakinen's always my go-to in these. Foligno can play across the pond at right wing. What's his extension? His extension's 3x3. If I take Foligno, that's my final forward. So we'll sort by forwards here and see if I can snag better winger maybe than Foligno. I have it sorted by potential, I believe. That. So I have my 4 centers, but I could also opt to send Nolan Patrick down. Silverberg, I don't know, at 30 years old, that's terrifying. That honestly scares me. Max Jones, he's 23. I can really see him developing. So sending him to the AHL would be a great idea. Niederreiter, that contract does not impress me. Fogel, how do you pronounce that? Is 25. Could do without that. 81 and 2, about probably what he should be. Solid comp for Yost. He's 23. Wenberg would be nice to just have as a center until somebody else develops. I always like taking Grunstrom too. He doesn't develop very well, but taking Grunstrom has historically been a good pick. Foligno, is there anybody younger that can do what he does better? 23. Victor Rask. Expensive. I'll get out. I mean, on the Wild, I just don't see much. Not very many forwards with a lot of potential. Taking Foligno. He's got a decent contract extension, and he fits very well in the bottom 6. Yeah, if you see anything that maybe you want me to pick up, let me know. See if I can make it happen. Nick Cousins, 27 years of age. Trainin and Pitlick. Ooh. Both of these are good. It's obviously edge to Trainin, same age and overall up, and extra year on his contract and cheaper. I don't really see myself taking Nick Cousins. I'll take Trainin here and wait. I already have Ekholm. I could take Trainin over Ekholm and just completely forget about having I don't really see anything that I like for that on 6. I've really kind of made the executive decision here to build for the future, I guess. I was expecting there to be a little bit more talent. Between Zucker and Jari for the Penguins, I think that choice is going to really depend on who I take for that that final forward. Balser is definitely edge over Donato in my book. He's cheaper and he has that 2-season extension there. I understand he doesn't have as much potential as Donato does, but Donato is also American, so there's a lot to be said about that. So I know what I'm going to do. Unless I feel that... I think I'd take a defenseman from here. If I take Vince Dunn, I probably put him in the NHL. If I take Cale Fleury, I probably put him in the AHL. And there's a lot of good D-men here too. Just not any good D-men on good contracts either. Oh my goodness. Not taking Holtby as my goalie. No chance in hell I do that. Some okay prospects here. Nobody with wild potential. McEwen's probably the one that I would select here. Just due to the fact that there are enough other options. Alright, so I'm going to go down to the Wild here and probably take Foligno for that final forward. Unless there's anybody that's crazy better at younger. I don't see anybody with better potential. What he is. He's got that contract extension. That'll be my final forward, and he can play right wing. So be it. I think I probably get rid of Ekholm and play on Trainin here. Ekholm's contract is just so good. It is really, really good. It's a tough decision. Trainin is going to be an RFA at the end of this contract of 2 years with me. Develop. Realistically, I can see him maybe being like an 80 at the end of that. Ekholm is going to be ridiculous for 1 year. Maybe 2. I've had a couple of people survive old age. Maybe I stick with Ekholm. What D-men do I got? Is there anybody maybe on a 2-way that I can assign to the A? If I do keep Ekholm. I mean, realistically, before waivers start, I think I can assign 1 or 2 of these people to the AHL. Maybe to exempt Bear's contract, I send him down. Because that's $2 million cap I could save. Dermott is mad cheap. Dermott is really, really cheap for what he is. Having Bear in the AHL to have an extra year of development. I think I can assign him to the A, but I'll have to check on that. All right. On my last need here, who's my goalie? Luukkonen. Yeah, I need 2 goalies. Luukkonen's going to start in the AHL. I just don't see a 76 in the end having any success time. I want whoever I pick to succeed. Could pick Ronto, he's an 84. Taking the best thing available, probably, besides... Malcolm Subban is always an excellent backup. I have not selected anybody from the Blackhawks. Gaudette is 24 years old and 80. Top 9 potential. Subban has a starter potential. He's 27 and 81. As a goalie, that's really good. But without significant playing time, I just don't see him really doing too much, development-wise. Klingberg's 28. Ottinger's 22. I feel like Ottinger's going to be a freak, but missing out on Klingberg could be a little bit of a mistake with those traits. Go to the teams that haven't. Montembeault is... Actually, Montembeault could be an awesome backup. With a good goalie coach, he could turn out to be pretty decent. I mean, he's only 2 years older than Ottinger. Jonathan Quick's old as balls. Cam Talbot's also old. Jake Allen isn't the oldest. I think I already took... Yeah, okay. What about the goalies here? Pecorine, I know, is on the team. Not something that really impresses me. So what if I take a goalie who's younger for my backup? I could always take Jari. I think Jari is probably the one who makes the most sense for being a starter. I mean, Kraken have so much ability, like future ability. Vanacek is always disgusting. I mean, having Vanacek is like, he's on his ELC. He's still on his ELC, as far as I'm aware. That's that. I mean, the only thing that I'm seriously missing out on that is wildly good is Cale Fleury. Cale Fleury is going to be an utter monster. He's 78 overall, he's 22. That development's probably going to get him to like an 86 in a couple of years. 86, 87. Depending on what coaching he has. He could be like an 88, 89. That's like as soon as his ELC expires. But at the same rate, there's one season after that he's still around. I can see him negotiating for $2 million and like 3 or 4 seasons. So I take Vanacek and miss out on the ability to have Cale Fleury. Vanacek is obviously the best goalie in the draft. Like, there is, in my opinion, no debate that he's all that. But if I take the cut on losing Vanacek, I mean, Brossoit is comparable in age. I still have the ability to take Malcolm Subban as my backup, and I think I'm probably going to do that. But there's still Ottinger that I skipped out on to take Klingberg, and I honestly don't know if that's going to be a mistake or not, because Klingberg is incredible. Klingberg is absolutely incredible. So, with what there is now, obviously I leave whatever his name is in the AHL to start with. He's going to be the AHL starting goalie. I want him to have playing time. With everybody that remains here, I probably want a starter who's in the 83 range, and then somebody who's going to develop behind the starter in their couple of games. I don't know. For the starter, the ones that I see that check the box is Jari, probably the most. The only thing that kind of dissuades me from Jari is he costs $3 million in cap, but he's also 26 and has starter potential. And I don't really see much need to take Zucker at 5.5, and they'd absolutely have no reasonable prospects. Jankowski could be decent, but he's 26. His window for being good's closing relatively soon. I think I'd probably take Jari as my starter here. And then for the backup, I'm between, like, Subban and Vanacek. If I take Subban, that's fine. Vanacek, obviously, is a cut above Subban. Vanacek is just going to be unbelievable. If I take Vanacek, he's going to be my starter, and I throw Jari as my backup. Taking a goalie from Pittsburgh makes the most sense, because Pittsburgh doesn't have anything else at all. Seattle, on the other hand, is a pool of prospects. That's not the right button. I could take Vince Dunn. I could take Cale Fleury. I could take Jonas Donskoy. I could take Jamie Alexei. I probably wouldn't take Jamie Alexiak, but you kind of get the point that there was a ton to pick here. And the only thing that kind of dissuades me from picking Cale Fleury is the fact that he's probably going to wager a larger contract than Vanacek will. He is definitely going to try to play the market and turn into a better player. So, I know Vanacek develops insanely well for his contract. Turns out great. In Jari, the thing with Jari, though, is even though I'm spending more money to take somebody from Pittsburgh at 83 overall, I'm spending pretty decently on a goalie. He has the same potential. He's a year older than Vanacek. I could easily run a two-goalie system with those two guys. Jari and Subban, I'm sorry. Jari and Subban, I could run a two-goalie system. With that, I'm... Right now, I think it's just between picking Cale Fleury at 78 and 22. They both have, like, the same potential in my eyes. There's still Chalowski. I completely mulled over him. Chalowski is a two-way contract. He's 23 years old, and he's pretty much the same price as Cale Fleury, but he's just a little bit more overall. I'm really not sure the direction that I want to go with this. Do I want to take a Tendy here? Take Vanacek, who I know is going to develop into somebody insane. Cholowski is also going to develop into somebody insane. So no matter which way I go, I'm going to get something right. I don't know which way I want to go. I do have that other goalie that's going to develop, but Vanacek will carry mega trade value. Let's go over here to the Blackhawks and see what they have in the way of skaters. Subban is way older than every other goalie, and he's just... Could take Gaudette. Throw Gaudette in this... EHL, I mean... He's 24 years old. Subban doesn't particularly impress me. I have that prospect goalie. I'm kind of leaning towards taking Vanacek instead of Fleury. Which I know that's kind of stupid, but is... I know that there is... I mean, there's... This actually could turn out to be really good here, too. This could turn out to be really good. Top 6 potential. Gaudette has less potential. He's a higher overall. But he's also low. I mean, there's prospects I think that can compare to Cale Fleury. Yost is one of them for sure. But have I taken somebody from the Avs already? I took Devin Taves. Because that's... I could honestly get rid of Devin Taves and pick up Yost. Because Yost is going to develop into something special, I feel. What was the team that I wanted to take a D-man from but couldn't? Was it Washington? It was. I don't see Orlov being much different than our friend over there. Can't remember who it was I picked. And they just have no prospects. I mean, I've got no clue how to pronounce that. I'm not even going to attempt that. This Axel Johnson, I don't have much faith for him. So what I'm going to do here is flip my picks. Taking a D-man here. I'm going to take Orlov instead of Schultz. Or do I... You're cheaper, I'm going to take you. Take Schultz. I'm going to go over to this. Actually, Devin Taves is way better than that. But I'm going to take Yost instead. Because Yost has a lot more years to develop. I still have my six defensemen. My top players. Taking a D-man from here. Be the smartest play too. I don't really see much prospects. However the hell you pronounce that name. There's not too many prospects. Schmidt is on an awful contract. Absolutely terrible contract. Schmidt's definitely the best player I could take. Contract is just suffocating. Ducks don't have a goalie, do they? They got Hold B, but I'm not taking Hold B. I refuse to do that. So who is our highest potential friend here? Do I take Mott maybe instead? He's a year older. He's a little bit more expensive. So I'll probably take... Drop my controller. Crap. Actually, take Mac-U in here. Vancouver. I do need to build my team full of prospects. Because if I'm going to sign anybody in free agency, this entire end is picked, so I only need to go up to Seattle. Alright. I think it's funny now, because I'm trying to fill my team full of prospects so that I don't exactly feel as terrible about taking Vanacek. I think that's kind of where my heart lies. Ooh, how did I not see this? Lundstrom. He's 21 years old. When were you look like you could possibly have been a first-round pick. You were, and you fit very, very well in the scheme. Cool. The only other guy that I see that could compare to him. Between those two, we'll see what I need at the end of the day. If I need a forward or a D-man, they're pretty much the exact same thing. Peterson looks like he's a good option. I saw 77 up here. Hunt, he's a top 9. He's undrafted. Wow, okay. His shooting traits aren't bad. He's 25 years old. If I get somebody who's younger, 75 and 23, or 77 and 25. I think the same contract, actually. 523, 77. He has bottom 6 potential. What's the other guy have? He has top 9 potential. Probably take Hunt here. Unless there's a goalie that I really, really want. Antti Ranta could be okay, but we'll take our 77 overall friend here. I think Peterson is 23 though. That's the only thing that like really turns me on to him more, but he doesn't have as much potential, so I'll take Hunt. Go a little bit older, because top 9, in my opinion, is definitely well better than bottom 6. I feel like I could get something here. Like this. 81-25 top 6 potential. There's not anything better than that. Taking that. Taking Fogele, whoever the hell that is. Chicago. I either take Subban or I take Gaudette. I think I'm gonna take Vanacek. So I'll take the youngest available guy with good potential. Borgstrom. Honestly, could be way better than Gaudette. Both of them are, it's apples to apples at this point. He's top 9 potential, he's got less, but that, and he also doesn't have a contract. I think I might take Borgstrom. Gaudette is American, so he'd fit in probably better in the locker room than Borgstrom would. Whoever this is going to the AHL. This extension is really interesting because $1 million. But if Gaudette's in the AHL, he's realistically not going to ask for much more than that. I don't really see him re-signing for anything terribly crazy. We'll go with the scheme, locker room fit there. Kind of probably, now that I see my plan, buzz through these last couple picks. I did see a 26 here somewhere. Wenberg. Wenberg, I think, is... yeah, he's Swedish. He's 2 mil, if I sign him to the AHL, he's probably, I mean, yeah, Wenberg is like realistically what I have to take here. And I can always like rescind some of these picks and like kind of mash my lines around a little bit. I see I follow there. Here's a 79-23. That's Grunstrom. Grunstrom's always historically really good for me. He fits well, but he's not in the country that I want him to be in. I want him to probably be Canadian American for the locker room fit. All of these guys have top 9 potential. Grunstrom just has the highest overall and the best contract. I don't see any top 6 forward potentials. Remotely close. Roy might be fine. Grunstrom. Too few goalie defender spots on the minimums. That's interesting. Never had that happen. I guess I don't have that many teams to pick from. So I guess that's pretty trashy. I'm gonna take Vanacek. I just really trust that pick. So it looks like I really just need to take defense. And I need to take Crosby defense. Anaheim, I think I could take Goalie. He is markedly older, but it doesn't really matter. I just kind of need a D-man that's like going to develop more than serviceably. We'll see if there's another D prospect that's worth taking a look at anywhere else. Strand is probably best young D-man I could find there, so I have to pick from who, the Sharks, the Sens, and the Isles. Wotherspoon, he has top 6 potential, and he's young. Van de Sample, what other forwards could there possibly be? Timashov is low-key actually really good. He looks like he's probably a high pick. He wasn't a high pick. Van de Sample is I don't know if I can kind of finesse around getting this Timashov guy. I might do that because he's got top 6 potential. That's easily probably the best potential I found on the team. Either him or Ho-Sung, but Timashov's younger. So I need to get rid of a forward to get Timashov. There isn't very many D prospects that I've found that are overly impressive. Yeah, like, who do I take here? Top 6 potential. He's 73, 23. Probably take the slightly older defenseman here for a big gap in. Well, we also don't know. He could turn out to be pretty okay. Simick's on a good contract. I mean, the only thing that really dissuaded me from taking Grunstrom... See, is there really anything okay? Okay, that's... really decent, actually. Ole Mata and Matt Roy. Matt Roy is well cheaper, and he's still going to be cheaper on the extension, so I'll probably take Matt Roy. He's an 80 overall, and he's likely not going to go disgustingly below that. If he even does at all, he could be like a scratch player in the future. So I need who the Sens, the Sharks. I don't see why. So from the Isles, I'm going to take that winger. And if it makes me not pick him for whatever reason, Timashov, is you would have too few goalie defender slots remaining for the required minimums. I need to take one defender and one right wing. So why won't it let me take that? I have 3 teams left. I just need to take one freaking defense. Yeah, I have 3 picks left, and one defender, one right wing. So I do not know why I can't pick him. So I need a defender and a right wing. Let's see. I'm absolutely taking Victor Mete here, unless there's like a right wing that seriously impresses. He's expensive, or else I probably would take White. 80 and 24. He's 78 and 23. He's also like 4 mil in cap, so I'll take Mete. I hope I pronounced that right. And I just need a right winger here, so I'll snag one from the Sharks. They have 2 really, really bad right wings. Holy. If I take a right wing, would it then let me take... Like, dude. I have all of my defensemen picked. Is this glitched? It has to be, right? So with this logic then, I'm out of picking forwards. I have all of my defense and all 3 of my goalies. So why would it not let me pick? Let me know if I'm doing something wrong, because I don't know, I'm baffled. This makes no sense. So let's go here to my forwards and see who I can get rid of. Maybe I can cheat the game into thinking that Hunt is... I could probably get rid of Hunt. I could probably get rid of McEwen. And as much as I hate to say it, I might be able to get rid of Blay. Let's try getting rid of Hunt first. Hunt's on the Yotes. So who can I pick from the Yotes on defense? Or goalie? It's like prospect type. This is literally just proportional, exactly the way you think it would. Exactly the way you think it would be. I mean, I guess I could take Coronar. He's got backup potential. He could be my AHL backup. That's actually not a stupid pick. But I'm gonna draft that. I'm drafting a goalie for the AHL right off the gun. So who's a good... Yeah, look at this. Like, 69, 71, 72, 75, 78, 79. There's no decrease ability, and all of the contracts are relatively reasonable. This guy has top 4 D potential, so that's kind of what I'm going to use to differentiate between the two. That gets rid of Hunt, so that allows me to take our friend on the Islanders. What was his name? Timashov. He impresses me a lot more than Hunt does. So I guess the kind of the cheat behind it is you're not allowed to have... Okay. So defense, goalie. So I need to take one more defender. I think there's only one. Yeah, one pick left, and it's from the Sharks. We'll just take whatever D-man or goalie I find. The only goalie is Martin Jones, so I'll stick to a D-man. I could take Brent Burns. No can do, not going to do that. So both these guys, top 6 D potential. I'm going to have this guy for an extra year. Yaris is a higher overall. I'm just going to stick to that. So before I finalize this and likely put it away for the day, let me take a look at what I have. The only thing that could possibly make it interesting for me is Ekholm. Is there anything that is better on the Preds than Ekholm? He's just so old. Training, top 9 potential. He doesn't really fit. He's a Russian. Ekholm, Ekholm does carry a mega load of trade value. Like with this contract, I just might as well. I mean, even if he goes away, I could use him for a couple of seasons. The only thing that I would say that would seriously hamper my decision on Ekholm the fact that he could win games for us if I decide to go for a tank, which I might tank. The only ones that I really want to keep around are Kotkaniemi, Patrick. My center pool is really good. I'm sure that there could be somebody else who can move over. Somebody who could play wing. Kopp can play wing, but I'd probably want him to center that first line if he fits there. He does not. Niemi could definitely not play in that line. So my centers are very young. I have a good core of players who are going to develop. I didn't overly spend on anybody, which I'm very happy about. Like, looking at the cap space down there at the bottom, I have 32 million to play around with. 32 million. So that also kind of makes the Ekholm pick look that much better, for the reason that I have this much money to spend in free agency. So having Ekholm, if I take a look at free agency and I see somebody in FA that's worth attempting to win now, which, I mean, I just don't have anybody that would win. Kopp is my highest overall forward. My forwards are just utterly abysmal, but the good thing about the forwards are they're all going to be very, very good in about 3 years' time, 3 seasons' time. My D is notably a little bit better. I mean, my top 6, my very worst defenseman on the starting line is 82. There's something to be said about that. They're all pretty young, except for Schultz and Ekholm. And I guess Klingberg to some degree, but he's a little bit older, and I can work around that. The only thing I missed out on there is taking Ottinger, which I got Vanacek to make up for that. Which kind of leads me to wonder if I do not take Klingberg and do take Ottinger. I get rid of Vanacek and turn Vanacek into a defenseman and then take Ottinger. Vanacek is the higher potential. He's also a higher overall. He's 3 years older, though. By the time the Vanacek is in his prime, I'm going to have Luukkonen ready. Jari's going to be already traded away. Luukkonen will be up on the roster. He is the same age as is Ottinger. Obviously, having the younger goalies would be nice. If I trade, but that would get rid of the ability to have. I mean, that would give me the ability to have Cale Fleury. So let me think this over real quick. What do I want to do here? So if I play cost benefit, I could carry 4 goalies on me technically. Realistically, I would be trading Klingberg and Vanacek for Cale Fleury, who's a 78 overall, and Ottinger, who's an 82 overall, but they're younger. So that would obviously be pretty much more of a, do I build for the future on defense more so than building for the future on goalie? Like, I have a future on goalie regardless. That is a very, very small future improvement from Vanacek. I guess I could take Vince Dunn too. Vince Dunn instead of Klingberg. To have 4 more years of Dunn. He's got that top 6 potential, or top 4 potential, I'm sorry. I could also take Chalowski, who's a year younger. Out of the 2 of them, I'd definitely take Dunn because of the overall increase. I have the extra $1 million. That could be very useful. I'm losing on Klingberg's superstar abilities, though. So do I fully commit to having a tank? Or do I try to win by signing somebody good in free agency? I wish I could just save this draft. I mean, I could leave it on. I wish I could save it and ask you guys what you would rather see. Should I try to win now? Or should I attempt to go for it now? Or build for the future, I'm sorry. So I always kind of build for a big future. I'm very tempted to just sign Klingberg and say screw it. I'm gonna win. My future's good, so I mean I could be a contender for a long time. I could contend now with getting Klingberg. I could trade Klingberg for prospects. Vanacek and Ottinger are no different. But do I think Vince Dunn will somehow surpass Klingberg? What's Klingberg's contract? Klingberg's 28 years old. Vince Dunn's 24. You know what? Klingberg's on a bigger contract, so I'm going to switch everything up here and say screw Klingberg. He has the superstar abilities. I'm going to trust my gut and pick Ottinger here. But he also has less potential. No, balls out. I'm going to take Klingberg. I don't trust Ottinger enough on the pick. I mean, realistically, he's going to be a backup anyways. But my whole goal kind of is to trade Jari. I really just don't want to see Jari on that starter position. Obviously, Luukkonen's going to be there, but I'm going to have Jari for a couple of years. Maybe have him start. Probably just have him back up Vanacek for now, because Vanacek's younger guy, more potential, and he's definitely on a way less contract. And with $32 million in cap, I can sign probably like somebody realistically close to Vince Dunn. I don't actually. I just realized I don't know if anybody's expiring. It's making more sense that cap space would probably work. Hmm. I'm going to take Klingberg for the virtue of having Vanacek over Ottinger, which is an interesting way to do it, but the plan is kind of to, and this is how you can tell I'm a freaking Pittsburgh Pirates fan. I want to develop my goalies to be good, and whenever I have a goalie that's kind of like, whenever my backup is like 86, trade away my other goalie if they're like in the 86 to 88 range, which I'm going to gamble on doing that with Jari and Vanacek. I'll keep Klingberg. Worst turns to worst, I could definitely flip him for a defenseman of the similar caliber that Vince Dunn is. And I'm just going to finish the draft. I'm going to trust my gut here. And take all these guys. So we'll see kind of how this squares up. I can't check my lines right now. I'll take a look at my coaches real quick. And I'm probably going to shut it down for the day. So I have... This actually works out really well. Having a forwards coach, 2 defensemen, and a goalie coach. The goalie coach is an A+ teaching, which is really what I'm looking for. I can't hire any coaches. I actually have 860 or 854 in cap I can spend. This is really good here. Having a coach, he's a B overall, which is honestly decent. I have a defenseman coach with an A- teaching, doubled with one that has a B teaching. So with these two together, it looks like the D are going to turn out to be developing pretty quickly. And it looks like they're going to really realize their potential faster. This goalie coach is awesome, and I'm most happy about my goalie picks for that reason. Actually, it kind of makes me a little bit sad I didn't take Ottinger at the same rate. I can't assign my scouts yet. We'll take a look at these contracts real quick. My biggest contract is Klingberg at $4 million, and he's an 86. So I did get an absolute load of steals in the expansion draft. I'm feeling really confident about my ability to compete for quite a while, whether it means winning a cup right away or holding off maybe 2 or 3 seasons until I peak to win that cup. Let's take a look at this draft class here so I can see what we have. Maybe you guys can give me a couple of suggestions of who to pick. Oh, I guess I do pick high up. The board at the beginning did not show I picked rather high. So I pick 3rd in every round besides the 1st, which I pick 5th. Obviously, the scouting is already done for me. Looks like Boro is going to be the top guy. We'll take a look at these coach strategies real quick. I plan on keeping most streams probably around 2 hours long. I'm going to stream every night at midnight, barring anything happening Like, if I have any plans, if I'm going to be away for the day, then I'll reschedule it, maybe do it at a different time. But as of now, the plan is kind of to stream every night at midnight. That way I'm not competing with leagues, I'm not competing with my work schedule. I feel like midnight's a pretty good time if you guys just want to watch franchise mode, throw on in the background and wind down for the day. If there are any other times that you want me to stream, like if you want me to do a lunchtime stream, I usually don't work during lunchtime for the most part. I could do that. This series I'm gonna try to do more at nighttime. I'll do a different series, like a rebuild series maybe during the day. If I don't know yet. You guys kind of determine that. This looks like a similar strategy here to what I run in my other franchises. And it looks like there's kind of a spot for all D-men, but D-men seem to be shooting D-men. So what's going to be most important then is getting a good fourth line crashing that forward. So it looks like first line with who I pick in the first round here, since I have a top 5 pick. I could trade up, I could trade down, but I'm probably going to either trade up or sit at 5th. Because either way, I'm going to be guaranteed to get a top 5 talent. So it's going to be don't block. It'd have to be a don't block player. Efficient. Shooter cycle could be. Yeah, it's give or take. And I'm looking for overload, carry, shoot efficient, don't block probably the most. At best, I mean. Take a look at this draft class real quick. Take a look at the top 5 players. See who you guys would want to see me pick the most. Boro seems to be the most, like the best player, obviously. He has only one scheme fit, and that's overload. Balanced and hold line. We want a shooting D-man if we do pick one. Probably. Obviously, I think taking it forward makes the most sense, right? My D-core is good right now. Cycle, balanced, that's fine. Block is okay, I guess. Overload. Taking a look at Brant Clark. He cycles and holds line. He's not shooting. It doesn't look like I'm going to be getting anybody who's going to exactly fit the scheme. Overload and balanced is going to be like that weird, like, middle ground, that yellow. If I do throw somebody like McTavish on the first line. I don't know. I just really see scheme fits that aren't particularly coherent with mine. So I think either way, I'm going to get one of Boro, Kennins, Pajot, Eklund, Clark, McTavish, Gunther. Could be an option. But looking at Eklund, probably to me seems the best. Because he is the overload. And everybody else is kind of like a mid forward. And Gunther's a medium elite. He has the potential, looking at these skills, to be slightly better than Eklund. And he's Canadian. McTavish is only a top 5 potential. He's probably going to be high. He's got 2 X factors. Let's see. Does anybody else have X factors? Tape to tape on Brant Clark. And Eklund has 3 superstar abilities. Let's see. The Boro probably has a lot of them too. He's got a ton. Kennings. Pajot. both of these two guys have amazing abilities. So, I mean, I could take a D-man. I could take a D-man. The D in this class looks notably more stacked than forwards, at least at the top. So I pick again. Remember, these are 33 team rounds. Stank Oven, that's an interesting name. Sounds like what happens when you fart under the sheets or something. Damn. Looking at this 36th overall pick, Johnston, he's a Canadian center. Doesn't really look like he fits the scheme. Ratty has a franchise potential. He's low franchise. His skills look amazing, but all of these zone abilities and superstar abilities don't really seem to have much. I could reach down and take Ratty. It doesn't really look like I have very much insight on players with good potential. Let's take a look at some Canadian players real quick, since it seems like I very dominantly looked around or built around Canadians. Obviously these two are in my realm of being able to be picked. Or Zach. Doesn't seem to fit too much. Riker Evans, I drafted him once, he turned out to be insane. He actually does have elite potential as far as I'm aware. Brian Clark, obviously, and Mason McTavish. Both amazing picks. Johnston, I looked at him for the second round. Could have that bouncer ability. He could. That's not entirely set. So I pick, what, like 36th? 5th, 36th. 66th, like 69th. Nice. So, our Curry could be one I pick, 71. Mathieu, Matier, Punnett, all kind of in that range. Third round picks. I definitely do want a goalie at some point in the draft. We'll see where the goalies are after this. Don't know how to pronounce your name. It's cool. Melanson, Roy. I mean, alright. Look at all leagues for goalies here. There's a franchise goalie hanging here. He looks to be all that he's cracked out to be. I took Kari Pirinen in another league, and he actually turns out to be like a 79 or an 80, which is not bad. Wallstedt, I don't believe particularly develops. 87th could be... That's going to be right in between my 3rd and 4th round picks. So, I pick it 69th overall in the 3rd round. I believe, if I did the math correct. Let's check this. 3rd round. So 66 and 3. So yeah, I pick it 69th overall. And then 102nd. So that's going to be right in between those picks. Somebody could definitely reach down and pick our friend Wallstedt here. I'm going to pin him. I'm also going to pin Pirinen. I'll remember him. I'll pin the Lowry here if he's got good trait. No, he does not. Heinen, I think turns out to be alright. I'll pin him. So those are kind of the two goalies I'm mostly going to target. Casa, I believe, turns out fine. So we'll pin him as well. Those are going to be the three goalies that I really, really look at. I do kind of want to take a chance. I'll pin Eklund, McTavish, Clark, so the 3 scout picks. So I probably don't realistically need to pin them. I'll pin Gunther. Head down here to these guys. These 3 probably obviously going to be fine. Ratty, I'm going to pin him obviously. His skills don't look bad. Johnston, so I'll pin him too. I had Bolduc in another league too. He did not develop as I wanted him to, but he actually looks like he's really going to fit well in this scheme. I'll remember Bolduc. I've seen him before. But we'll see. I don't particularly care to do my interviews, but I might do them tomorrow, might not. Again, if there is anybody in this draft class that you do want to see me pick, let me know in the comments. If you think that I should trade up or even trade down, maybe for 2 seconds. I don't really see that much in the second round. I kind of want to get in on one of these top prospects. Let me know if you want to see me trade a second and a third maybe up to get one of those better forwards in the second round. Or trade up a couple thirds. Or a third and a fourth to go up in the third. I don't know. Again, like, let me know who you'd like me to pick. I'll be online tomorrow, I'd say midnight again. And hopefully we can start getting this thing rolling. I mean, I think we got a solid team to start out with. I think we can turn it into a winner if we can get a good free agent. Take a quick look at free agents. Yeah, there's, as I predicted, there would be nothing because I extended everybody's contract by a year, but that's fine. Can plan to be great and spend all that money that I saved in 2 years. But yeah, hopefully you guys tune in tomorrow and see what we can do. This team starts out. Hopefully we get the draft done, re-sign phase, do free agency if I even decide to sign anybody. Probably sign some players to the AHL. So I usually do that, get a couple good two-way contracts, and just go from there. Well, had a lot of fun today. Hope you guys didn't mind me rattling on for more than 2 hours. Maybe we can get some buzz going. By the way, I have some big plans. If you care to watch this far in the video, for anybody who's rewatching it later, I'll bring it up tomorrow's stream, episode 2. I have a big plan in the future for my franchise modes. I have one really big idea. So hopefully, with enough viewer support, I can pull it off. It'll be my 100 subscribers special. So special. My 100 subscriber special. That's a mouthful. My 100 sub special. Whenever I get there, I'll reveal what it is. But until then, keep promoting the stream so I can have a little bit more flexibility with what I do, so I can release a couple more series, hopefully edge towards monetization. The monetization, any money that I get back from these streams is going to be hopefully put back into content, like buying myself a PC so I can maybe get a face cam in the future. Maybe doing a little bit more equipment, a little bit more different types of content, I guess. Yeah, just the more you guys support the stream, the more I can do, and I really plan on keeping up with doing this frequently. So any suggestions you have, put in the comments. Yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Tomorrow's stream will be going up at midnight Eastern. Hopefully I'll see everybody there. Peace. We had a great stream today, and hopefully tomorrow's is just as good, if not better. Hope everybody has a great day tomorrow, and I'll see you later tonight, tomorrow morning.